welcome to episode 103 of Reaction Time Podcast. Today, we are talking about Severance.
Severance. Everybody,
Season
Sam wants
2.
Severance.
Well, you watched Severance too.
Well, I know, but I got you to watch it.
Yeah, you and everybody else on Earth. I don't know if I know anybody who's not watching it.
Wasn't it?
It was worth it. It
So
absolutely
worth it.
was worth it. So we're going to be going over season 2 of Severance.
Yeah.
I'm sure we'll talk about season 1 a little bit also, but
Yeah.
no spoilers right off the bat, but we will jump into spoilers later on, but we'll
Yeah.
warn you, so don't be scared.
Don't be scared.
Episode,
We got your back. There's a lot of
10.
spoilers, so
yeah, a lot of spoilers. We
So
will
we
be
won't get
spoiling the whole show. Yeah.
yeah.
So,
What were you saying about episode 10?
well, I was just saying episode 10 ended about, for me, about 10 minutes ago.
Yeah. And for most
So,
of the
as
world,
of-
like an hour ago.
Yeah. So it's all fresh.
It's all
fresh for
very
everyone.
fresh.
This is very, very fresh. Man, I don't even know. I don't know where to start. I guess I would say non-spoilers. Go watch the whole show
Yep.
as quickly as you can.
Yep.
Now everything is out as
Yep.
far as the first 2 seasons. So if you want to binge it, binge it.
And do it. Well, you're going to binge it.
It's a quick watch because you can't stop watching it. So you get through it pretty quick.
Yeah, Sam was like when he first started watching, he's like, "Yeah, I think I'll probably be finished around the last episode." And then like you were like 2 episodes early at least because you'd finished
I was
it
caught
so
up
fast.
like 2 weeks ago at least. I watched it way too quickly.
Did you watch all of it with your wife?
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
So
It was all,
what are your
trip.
thoughts of season 1? And then what are your thoughts of season 2? Like, I mean, we don't even necessarily have to like compare them, but like, how would you compare them, right?
So season 1, basically, I would say lives up to all of the hype. It's a really fun show. What I like about it, and what I've told a few people who have asked about it, is it's intriguing and mysterious without being too heady.
Yes.
Because I don't love shows or movies that are so complicated and mysterious to the point where you can't figure out what's going on.
Yes.
That's not fun.
No,
And that's for the
it's not.
0.1% of viewers who are really, really into that. And that's great for them. And I love that they have that. But it's just not for me. So I love that it's like relatively easy to follow.
Yeah.
But still makes you think and makes you question things and makes you theorize and all that kind of stuff. So
Oh yeah.
I love the entire first season. I think it's a very, 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 very good season of television. It's paced well. The characters are great. The acting's great. The sound design's great. Everything is incredible.
So good.
And I love it. Season 2 is all of that plus a little more in some places and minus a little more in others.
Yeah.
I would say if I had to pick a favorite, I like season 1 better.
Yeah.
But that's also, it's an introduction to the world. It's an introduction to the mystery. So you can't really do that with season 2 anyway. So
Right.
obviously same show, but not necessarily comparable.
Right.
The only thing that I would dock season 2 for is probably a little bit of pacing.
Yep. 100%.
I think it was a little bit slow at some points, and some scenes were dragged on longer than they needed to be, but nothing to the point where I was like, okay, waste of my time. One episode where I think it was probably a 45-minute episode, and it was about 40 minutes too long, in my own opinion. But
yeah.
but otherwise, I mean, incredible. It's such a good show.
I think for season 1, they had laid everything out perfectly. Where I think this season, I think to me there wasn't a lot of stuff that I was bored with, but as a whole, there were sections I was bored with. So like,
Yeah.
I think if they had rearranged some of the episodes to be at different spots in the season and maybe had like parts of certain episodes in other episodes, it would have kept you engaged the entire time. But there was like something happens like super quickly in the season and you're like, "Oh my gosh, like I didn't expect this to happen already," right?
Mm-hmm.
And then like 5 episodes go by and almost nothing has happened with that crazy thing. It's still good stuff. It's still things you're learning. It's still
Yeah.
progressing the story. But it was like, I think they just introduced certain things a little bit too quickly. So it was like, holy cow, this is coming, crazy, blowing up. Season 2 is here. It's going to be better than season 1. But I don't think anything was bad. I think they just had placed it a little bit badly. And so if they had just rearranged it a little bit and kept all of the stuff that we saw this season, I think it would have been perfect pacing. But they just organized it weirdly. If that makes sense.
Yeah, it's weird too though because there was so much time in between seasons and I think that kind of also adds an expectation of perfection.
Yeah.
When maybe it doesn't need to.
Yeah.
But was it 3 years or 4 years?
It was 3 years.
3 years. So that also,
and I know a lot of that was the writer's strike.
Tricky. Yeah. Which I guess, then how are you going to write it any better?
Yeah, they weren't writing it for 3 years. They were probably only writing it for 1.5.
Yeah. But this is what I would say. I mean, I think if you look at the categories that we have, that we use to, rate and review things, I think they nail all of them.
Yeah. Oh, I posted in our Discord. I really sat down and thought about it, and I was like, season 1 of Severance, if we were to do a full review out of our 5 categories, I couldn't really think of anything to dock a point for.
I agree.
I mean, I was like, I would probably give this 1,000 out of 1,000 because visually it's so cool. The story is so original, right? Mm-hmm. It's very intriguing. The acting to me, like, take for instance, like Breaking Bad. Breaking Bad has like some of the best acting out there, right?
Yeah.
But there are still some characters in Breaking Bad that's kind of like, you bug me, or I don't really care for you. This show has none of those.
It's all perfect.
It's all perfect.
I agree.
And that freaking title screen song is like my jam. And like, so the score for me, the songs they've created, and then there's the way things flow, it builds tension. It's so good. And then obviously vibe. I mean, I'm freaking loving the show,
Yeah. I said to Courtney, we were probably on episode 5 or 6 of season 2. And we were just in the middle of the episode, and I was just like, is this the best sound design of any TV show ever?
Yeah.
It's so good. It's so good. And the music is incredible and just always gets better.
Yeah.
But it's a mix between all of it. And there's so many little sound effects that they have that are super important.
Yeah. Oh, and the elevator.
The elevator and the little like, I don't know, noise that happens sometimes when they're switching and all sorts of stuff that happens. And I'm just like, it is so good.
It's so good.
So
you can hear that just walking by, and you're like, oh, I know that Severance.
Yeah. I would say, like, honestly, the 2 seasons combined is I would say it's a perfect show minus a little bit of pacing issues.
Just a little bit.
Literally, I think that's it.
That's it. Yeah. I loved season 2 just as much as the first one. There was just a little section that I was like, okay, I really enjoyed this, but it was too much of different things
Yeah.
rather than kind of floating those in random little places. Like you think of like the Penguin where they take an episode, or even like Daredevil where they take episodes and they do like flashbacks or side stories, but they trinkle in other stuff, right? So it keeps
Yeah.
you engaged. It keeps the story moving. It's not just like this whole episode felt like nothing actually happened. Where in this season, there was like a couple episodes where I was like, these episodes were so good, but I wish they would have sprinkled some from a different episode to kind of feel like the story kept moving and kept going, and where it just kept happening like episode after episode. It was like, okay, these are all good, but
Yeah.
I I need the other stuff too.
Did you watch season 1 weekly,
No.
or did you watch it all at once? I wonder if that's
It is a huge
another
thing.
thing that makes a difference.
Yep.
Even though I don't think there were any episodes in season 1 that were kind of like, okay, and nothing really happened.
Yeah.
From what I remember. But it's also, I do think that it makes such a big difference when
Yep.
you can watch it at your own pace.
Yep.
Because, and maybe, again, maybe it's like the timing, but we pretty much binged it until we caught up at episode 8.
Yeah.
And
Then that's
episode
when you had
8
the
was
problem.
one of it was the slowest one.
Yeah.
But it was also like, I think just objectively was the slowest episode.
Yeah.
But it's still like, okay, so would it be different if I was able to just watch like 8, 9, and 10 all in one night? You know, it's so
Yep.
different. And so that's why I super respect people who have the patience to just wait till a show's out and just watch the whole thing. Like, good for you.
Yeah.
I don't know. I can't do it.
Yeah. I can't.
But it's almost always better unless the show is hitting every single week, which is kind of rare these days. And Severance was super close,
yeah.
but
I've talked a lot about this with a coworker, but like that is a huge thing that we've talked about is, would this episode have bugged us if we were able to just watch the next episode, right? Because
exactly.
the season finale for me, 14 out of 10. Like, it was so good. And so I'm like, if I had watched, because it's really 8 and 9 that are like the two big ones that it's like, okay, these were good, but they needed to keep going. If I had
Was it 8 and 9 or 7 and 8?
No, well,
it was 8.
I really
Yeah.
liked 7. It was mainly 8 and 9. 9 was
No,
a
you're
lot
right,
of
yeah.
build up, right? And so it was like, but if I had 10 just immediately after, I would have loved all of it, right?
Yeah.
I don't think I would have had any issues with those episodes because it would have just kept going. But it was like, we're building hype every week, right? We're talking about it. We're like, oh my gosh, everybody's a scroll in this movie. You know, just kidding.
Yeah.
But like, speaking of scrolls, but that's like, you know, that we were theorizing, you know, what's this episode going to be like? And then it was like, okay, none of our stuff was right, which is fine because it was still a really good episode.
Yeah.
But so, yeah, to me personally, I do enjoy like the weekly, like chatting about it and talking about it. But I think most shows do better when you can watch it all at once.
Yeah, I agree.
So,
Yeah, for sure. But now you can.
yep.
So-
now you can
If you haven't watched it, go watch
go
it.
watch it.
You want to jump into spoilers?
Yeah. Let's do
Okay.
it.
We're gonna spoil it. We're
Can
gonna
I-
spoil it all
Can
the
I
way.
say something on the record? Mm-hmm. Man, Apple's killing it.
You guys, will somebody clip that out and post it on the entire internet everywhere? Everywhere. Oh, I'm so glad I have footage of this. It's going to be a GIF. It's going to be a meme. It's going to be a video. It's going to be a birthday card. It's going to be everything.
Look, Severance, Silo.
Here's the thing. Can I explain something to
Go
you
to
real
you,
quick,
go to
Craig?
you, Apple. Good for you. Yeah, please.
This is what happens. Apple makes amazing products. people like me buy them. Hold on. Apple makes amazing products that all work seamlessly together
Yep.
and don't require monthly fees.
No.
Apple's one of the few people who still sell one-time purchase things, which is pretty awesome.
That's a lot of Android
And then,
too.
yeah, whatever.
Because I'm not Samsung, so it is. Samsung can go die.
Samsung can die.
Yeah.
But I mean, they make like Final Cut Pro, Logic, all that stuff. It's still one-time fee. Everybody else, monthly. It's terrible.
Yeah.
So
Adobe.
look, they make amazing products. People like me buy them.
Yeah.
Give them tons of money.
Tons.
They become the richest company in the world. I don't know if they're still the richest company, but they're up there. I like to think that I'm a big reason why this show ever came out in the first place.
Oh.
You know?
Yeah.
How many thousands of dollars have I spent on Apple? Like should I get royalties from
You should.
Severance?
You honestly should.
I probably should.
Yeah. I'd contact
So
them.
I think I'm gonna write a letter to Tim Cook and just be like, hey, buddy.
I was actually talking about that because you think about the other companies like Netflix. That is all Netflix is just a streaming service, right? Even Paramount, even Peacock. I mean, all of those things, they're just streaming services, right?
Yeah.
Apple is the only real streaming service other than Amazon
Yeah.
that is not solely dependent on their streaming service. And so to me, Apple is like, okay, you know what? We're going to make Apple TV pretty cheap, which is the opposite of what Apple does, which is crazy.
Yeah.
But we're going to make Apple TV cheap. And you know what? We're going to take our time and we're just going to make killer shows. And hopefully it will become popular. And that's what's happened. I mean,
Well,
Severance Season 2 was the biggest launch of Apple TV. Beat Ted Lasso.
It's a really cool, like, I don't know if it could call it a business model, but I guess so. Business model of like, they don't rely on content,
Yeah.
right? And so I feel like, and I have not seen a ton of Apple TV stuff, but I feel like they kind of only make shows if they feel like they
Should.
should.
Yeah. And if they're going to be good.
Not if they feel like they like want to or need to or whatever. Like just like if it warrants being on TV, they're gonna do it.
Yeah.
Which is really cool.
It's very cool.
It's a good point. Yeah.
And they're killing it. I mean, I'm like sitting here thinking about it and I'm like, oh my gosh, what streaming services would I want? And Apple TV is up there now as one of those that's like, okay, Netflix, cool. I'll get you when Stranger Things comes out and Squid Game, but other than that, I really don't care about you.
yeah.
You know?
And the only reason I have Prime is because I have Prime.
Exactly.
You know, like
But it's got
if
freaking
Prime
ads
Video.
now.
I know. If Prime Video was a separate thing, I wouldn't have it.
No,
So
not at all.
yeah. Yeah, it is. I mean, man, it's interesting.
It's cool. They're doing good.
Okay, let's
do
spoil this. I gotta be home for dinner.
Yeah,
Just kidding,
I
I
know.
have to go to bed because I'm sleepy. Okay. You want to score this out just kind of like normal?
Yeah.
All right. So shall we talk about visuals?
Visuals, dude. Opening of season 2.
Okay,
Such a banger of a shot.
I have a question for
Yes.
you.
Yes.
What is your favorite? So I know you like that scene.
Yes.
Right, the opening scene of the show. Just in general, what is your favorite visual piece of Severance? Like the aspect that is kind of like a common thing.
A common
If you had
thing.
to pick, if you had to pick one like thing in Severance, whether it's the set or a certain camera thing they do or something like that, like what is one thing about Severance where you're like, I love that. That's my favorite Severance thing.
I love the elevator transition.
Oh, the dolly zoom with the face.
Yeah, because it looks
Yeah.
so cool. And them like rolling their eyes back and everything is just
For me,
awesome.
yeah, it's either that or it's the room they sit in.
Yeah.
There's something so ridiculously cool about how empty and weird and big it is, and how like the ceiling feels low, and I don't know, but just the set design. But yeah, that the first time I saw the elevator transition, I was like, oh, it's perfect.
Yep,
and it's always good too.
1,000%
every single time.
Good.
And somehow, it almost always, especially towards the end of season 2, it almost always felt like different.
Yeah.
Somehow, it's always the same thing.
It is.
But somehow it's always different.
There's a little bit more weight to it.
Yeah. Yeah.
But if you're talking about my favorite just scene, dude, season 1, episode 6, when Milchek is doing the dance at the freaking, what's it called? The
electric music, what's it called?
Like dance party.
Dance music experience?
Yeah, something like that.
Music dance experience.
Musical dance experience.
Musical dance experience, something like that.
That to me is like the 4 minutes of perfection. Just the lighting. I love how the lights all change to describe the mood of that scene, and just like the super awkwardness of Mark just kind of like doing this little dance, and Milchik just like going at it, and Dylan just starting to freak out more and more because he just saw his freaking kid in his house, and then he just goes insane and bites the guy. Like, I could do a whole episode on just that scene because it's so perfectly directed.
They do a really good job with just tension.
Yes.
But not the same tension as everybody else in TV and film does. It's different. I couldn't tell you what it is, but it's different.
I can tell you what it is.
Okay, tell me.
A Quiet Place is like heartbeat racing, like tension. This was, do you know the last time I have like sat there and bit my nails? It has probably been like 20 years, and I was sitting there and like, oh my God, what's going to happen?
I think what it is.
Dude, I was sitting there like, and then a certain thing happens, and I literally was like, for like 30 seconds, I was like, oh my God.
What thing happens? We're in spoilers.
Dude,
you can say it.
When he shoots the guy by accident in the elevator.
Oh, you're talking about, oh yeah. It was awesome.
It was so cool, but I did not expect it at all.
You know what it is I think this is what it is. I think if you think about tension from other projects, it's a quiet tension. Usually, in some way. I'm not saying it's silent, but there's not too much going on.
Right.
I feel like Severance is a chaotic tension.
Yes. And it's an uncomfortable tension. It's
uncomfortable. There's a lot going on.
Yeah.
The music is uniquely good, but very, very tense, and so much stuff's going on. And you kind of like know what people are thinking by their facial expressions because it's acted so well.
Yep.
It's everything coming together perfectly to make you feel super unsettled.
Yes.
And then, boom, something happens.
Yes. Unsettled the whole show.
Yeah.
Everything they do, you're just like, I don't know. Anything could happen at any moment in the show, and I would never be surprised. And I have never had that experience with anything else.
Yeah.
It's insane.
Man, it's crazy.
It's so good.
It's so good. Oof. I love it. So here's the deal. The set design is
perfect.
Literally perfect.
Perfect.
Everything from the room they work in to
the maze.
The maze of the hallways to the goat room.
Yeah.
The goat room, honestly, I was thinking about it. That's one of the coolest set pieces.
It's so cool.
This really big room that has got hills and stuff in it. And it doesn't look fake.
No.
I'm guessing it's not all real. I could be wrong.
I don't know.
That's a big... I don't know. That's the thing. I have no idea.
It's Ben Stiller, and he seems to care a lot about practical effects in this show.
Oh, yeah.
So it's probably real.
And then on top of that, all of the exterior shots of Lumen,
Yes.
of the city, of all of that. There's no telling where reality ends and
No.
CGI begins.
No.
Couldn't ever tell you.
No. And the freaking like little animated videos and everything they make are just so good.
Yeah.
And the
It's
color
so-
effects that they do. Oh.
Yeah.
And the freaking like marching band comes out. And like all the lights and MDR.
I love the marching band.
Dude, that song like slapped too. It was good.
And I noticed some extra good camera work in this last episode with when he's putting the final things into Cold Harbor. Just the shots of his hand on the keyboard and all of
Yes.
that, like something so simple, but it's so artistic and good. And it was all about lighting and focus and just all of the just nerdy things that people normally don't care about. It just was good.
And you could feel the weight of his hands doing the last percentages. They didn't even need to show his face to know what he was going through in his mind. And that is so good.
It's really cool.
You just don't see that anywhere else.
Yeah. I also liked the red lights like traveling down the hallway versus like a normal red flicker you'd get in an emergency.
Yeah.
I thought that was cool.
So cool.
I like all of the houses that they're at. I like his weird brother-in-law's house. I like his house. I like just everything is just good.
It's so good.
The camping, the camping episode, the outdoor. Here's the thing. I actually didn't love that episode overall.
I loved it.
But it was really good. I know. Hard
Look
to
at the
explain.
world's largest waterfall.
That I loved. That was hilarious. But
Perfection.
Again, were they really out in the wilderness? Were they on a set? I don't know. No idea.
No idea.
I would never know.
No, and the shots
just
of like
bizarre.
the ocean was so cool looking.
Yeah. Yeah. So they just did so good on everything visual, just all the props to them.
And the costume design of the Gemma episode was great. Like all her like 60s get-ups and stuff were so cool.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
Well, the budget was huge. You want to guess the budget? Do you know it?
Oh, it was huge.
Yeah.
150 mil?
I 200.
200. For the whole
pretty
show,
big.
though?
For the whole season.
Okay.
20 million an episode.
That's pretty big.
It's quite a bit. I mean, that's a decent sized movie. But I mean, again, it's like this is an 8-hour long, 6-hour long movie, right?
Yeah.
So, but I think it will prove to be worth it.
Oh, yeah. It's their biggest show.
You know? Yeah.
This show's
show's
blowing up.
This is one thing, though, where... Okay. Let me gather my thoughts before I start yelling. There's a lot of shows and movies that we've either reviewed or at least talked about that have had huge budgets and have been terrible.
Yep.
And it's easy to get mad at those. And then sometimes I think, well, like, I don't know where that money has to go to, and I don't know who's getting paid what and stuff. So it's like, okay, maybe it warranted, $300 million. And then I look at this and I'm like, okay, $200 million is a ton of money, but this show's incredible.
It's perfect.
So it just feels like, cool, that was probably worth it.
Yeah, they spent the $200 million.
So then I look at those other things
perfectly.
and I'm like, no, I was right. Those other things suck and somebody's laundering money.
Yeah.
Because no way did freaking
Secret Invasion.
Acolyte or Secret Invasion cost $250 million.
And this cost 200.
Yeah. So I was right all along. Okay.
And if it did cost that much money, they need to find better people because they suck.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Like Electric State, that was $320 million, and
I know I'm in the middle of that, and well, maybe we'll talk about it. Do you have any other visual things you want to talk about?
No.
Here's the thing. I think like visuals can be broken down into several things. I think it's video or like cinematography, costume design, set design, CGI, and like other miscellaneous things.
Mm-hmm.
and they just literally nailed all of it.
200. I mean,
Yeah,
perfect. I don't know if you
nothing else
noticed.
to say.
I thought it was really cool. In the last shot, when they're running, they changed from a digital camera to like more film camera. So you kind of had that more. I thought that was so
grainy.
cool.
Yeah.
It's just film feels very real and more human, where digital is more computerized. And so
Yeah.
I think that's what they were kind of going for, which is really cool.
Another clever thing. These guys and their giant brains.
I know.
Okay, so the writing and the story
Yeah.
of season 2 specifically.
Season 2 specifically.
Where are you at with that?
So, like I was saying before, my biggest problem, and again, I think this was just because I was watching it weekly, but episode 3 happens, and he's getting reintegrated, and I'm like, whoa. This is already happening in episode 3. Like, what is going to happen in this show, right?
Yeah.
Freaking episode like 9 is like, by the time you hear a little bit more about his reintegration, they put like the little brain juice to make it go faster. But like from episode 3 to like basically all the way up to episode 9, there was just like nothing with that storyline. And then by the end, it didn't even matter because
he's still nothing.
He's still not reintegrated. And is he going to be reintegrated? And anyways, so it was just like, I wish he would have gotten reintegrated like episode 6 or something, because then it could have
like
been
completed it or started it
because because it was just like, I loved the Gemma episode. It was perfect. I got so emotional when she was crying in the freaking elevator. Like, it was so good. But it was like, why don't you bring that a little bit sooner? Let's not have him be reintegrated yet. Have him be reintegrated a little bit later, because it was like, I was so like, oh my gosh, okay, so it's episode 3. He's reintegrated. That means that the next, rest of the season, he's going to be bouncing back and forth, and he's going to be, talking to himself or learning things on the inside and learning things on the outside. And then it was just like nothing.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, that kind of sucks, because that was such a cool, crazy thing that was happening already. But if it had happened like episode 6, and then you kind of got a little bit more of like, oh, it's not quite working, we need to do the brain juice thing in episode 7, and then you could do the Cobell episode in 8, and then kind of the build up in 9 and 10, and it would have been like, okay, that's fine. But I think they just, almost like your Last of Us, where it was like they came out full blast, guns a-blazing, and then it like took this slow period that wasn't bad, but it was just in the wrong spot.
Right.
It felt like. And then it was like, then the final episode, I'm sitting here like, I got like a heart rate of 400, and I'm on the edge of my seat, and I'm like, who's dying? Who's not going to die? What is happening? Why am I even thinking people are going to die? This isn't a show where people die, but I'm thinking somebody's going to die, because the tension is so crazy and everything's happening. And I was like, oh my gosh, this episode's so good. And I'm like, good. It was so amazing.
Yeah.
We couldn't have happened a little bit sooner too.
I know. I think they just need to be, and I think there's a lot of factors. I think it depends on when the next season comes out and what happens in it.
Right.
I think they need to be extra careful, especially in the next season, of how they treat like weekly releases and like how they pace each episode. I think the show is so good and so popular, though, that nobody's going to, let's say next season, episode 5 is a snooze fest.
Yeah.
I would say less than 1% or way less than 1% of viewers would decide they're not going to watch the next episode.
Yeah.
Right? Like,
they're that far into it.
That's just not going to happen. And I think this is also a show I will need to rewatch the whole thing.
Oh, yeah. I'm going to rewatch
Maybe
the
soon.
next 2 seasons probably soon, and definitely in anticipation for the third season,
Yeah.
which hopefully won't be as long this time because hopefully we won't have writer's strike crap.
I know. Yeah. But I mean, I think episode 8, where Cobell goes to her childhood home and lays in her bed for 40 minutes. I think
And
that
breathes through
episode,
her mom's breathing tube.
yeah. I understood it. I get the idea behind it. But I think when you're in the middle of mental chaos, taking a break that's that break-y,
Yep.
I don't think it does what maybe they thought it was going to do.
Well, why couldn't...
Of like, let's humanize this person. Let's like keep the suspense and make you wait, all that kind of stuff. It just kind of felt more just boring.
Right. And why couldn't that have been episode 5 and 8? It doesn't need to be a full episode of just Cobell. You can have episode 5 be happening, and then it switches over to Cobell for a little bit, and then it switches back to the normal story, and then it switches back to Cobell for a little bit, right? So you're staying engaged the whole time, but you're still getting because I thought that episode was great because it's creepy, it's weird. You find out a lot of crazy stuff that she's the one that's built all of this stuff, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, you get a little bit more her feelings because this whole time it's felt like she has no feelings and she's really weird, but you're getting a little bit more of what happened to her, and I thought it was good. It was good to learn. You get a little bit more feeling toward Cobell, and you start to see why she might be flipping against Lumen and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But to make it the shortest episode, like ever, of any of the seasons, and again, like just right after we got a flashback episode with Gemma, right? That was great episode. I think that was perfectly placed. It was awesome, but it was like Gemma episode, then Cobell episode, then build up to the end of the Cobell episode, but that took another 45 minutes to get to there, and so it was just like, okay, I like everything I learned in all those episodes, but I just want them placed a little bit better.
Yeah.
And I think it could have been great. It still was great. I think so too.
Yeah, it was still great. I think it would have been better, like mixed with whatever else was happening.
Yeah,
at the time, but it's okay. Yeah. I will forgive them. I think otherwise, I think the story itself is so good.
It's so good,
and I think it continues to be good. My only again, like I agree with you that the reintegration thing, I don't like that it went nowhere in the season.
Yeah.
Hopefully, like, next season more things will happen and it'll be a little bit more like, I don't know, you're just like, oh, okay, like looking at the whole thing, we're fine, right?
Yeah.
But, so I don't love that it almost felt like a tease of like,
yes,
he's reintegrating, maybe, but otherwise, I think the story is so good. It does feel like it got. Actually, tell me what you think. What do you think told more? How do I word this? Which season like had a further leap of story? Because I feel like season 2 told us less stuff, but it also revealed a lot more stuff, but it also took longer.
It did. And I think
in a way.
I think it went further than season 1, but and they've done a great job because that's the hard thing about making something like this. Once the mystery, not that the mystery is out because there's still a lot of mystery, but once the core mystery is out where it's like you're an outie, you're an innie, you're severed, right? Because like
Yeah.
there's still a lot of that mystery in the first season of like, how does this work? Who are they? What are they? What are the experiences? All that kind of stuff. And so, and there's so many twists in the first season, right? Cobell
Yeah.
being the neighbor and Gemma being alive and like, you know, little things like that that were like so cool. And so this season, I feel like had a very hard, like, just a really hard, not time because they didn't have a hard time, but just like there was this massive weight and goal that they had to accomplish because of the precedents that they had set with season one. And I think they
Yeah.
did a fantastic job, right? Like diving more into what they're actually trying to accomplish, which seems like they're trying to just get rid of all pain in a way, right? And so like that kind of stuff was really cool. You finally understand what the numbers were for. I'm a little sad that it wasn't getting rid of swear words in movies like Irv thought. But
Oh, yeah.
dude, that's one of my favorite lines.
Yeah.
So to come from that, the first season, where it's such an original idea, and then to keep it going, I think they did a really, really good job. But I would say there was a little less like crazy twist or less fully happened until like the last episode.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I feel like this season was interesting because season one just felt really linear,
Yeah.
and everything kind of felt like it was just a sequel of the episode before it, where this bounced around so much.
Yeah.
And that was another thing that, again, it's kind of a pacing thing, kind of just a storytelling thing. Again, I didn't hate it or anything. I'm not like mad about it, but it was, a little normal. And then we were on the camping trip, and then we were here, and then we found out that Helly was not Helly, and then we were flashback episode. Then we were following a completely different storyline with Cobell. So it was kind of like, you fall in love with that main like four characters at the beginning, and obviously they get separated and they have to further their stories and stuff. So it's like, I get it, but it kind of also sucks a little bit to kind of lose that dynamic.
Yep.
And that's just kind of like, that's what happens through storytelling.
Yeah, but
you usually can't just keep. I guess so, but if you really want to further, especially a story like this, I don't feel like you can have all four of them working there normally, staying together the whole time.
No.
It would be less interesting. You'd like it more, but it'd be less interesting.
Yeah. It's my same thing with Stranger Things. I loved the first season. The first season is still my favorite season of Stranger Things because they were all together,
Yeah.
And then every other season, it's been like, oh, I'm going to go do a side quest. I'm going to do a side quest. I'm going to do a side quest.
Yeah, a lot of side quests.
And so it's just like two people here, two people here, two people here, two people here, two people here. And so then you're trying to tell 4 or 5 stories. It's this is my thing for a lot of stuff. It's think of a job. You have a job to do, and let's say that job is you're supposed to tape boxes, right?
Yeah.
If all you're doing is taping boxes, you're gonna get perfect at it. But if you have to tape boxes and you have to go over somewhere else and hit a button, and you have to go to somewhere else and call somebody, and you have to go to somewhere else and you have to do 12 jumping jacks, your tape is not going to be as perfectly lined. You're not going to hit the button right at the beginning. You're not going to be as nice to the person on the phone, and you're going to do 11 jumping jacks rather than 12, right?
Right.